All right, everybody. As you know, we are right in the middle of our reverse engineering project where we are modeling an item in CAD exactly as we see it in order to later make an improvement from it. And the next step in this process is we are going to make something called an exploded view and a parts list alongside that. Okay. And the purpose of an exploded view is to see how something is put together. And it's usually along some sort of linear axis, or if you have multiple parts, you can draw them along another axis. But this is essentially what we are going to get. We see how everything is stacked together, what's connected to what, and then what everything is labeled as. Now, you want to make sure that your file names are different enough because, as you can see here, I got lazy and I called two of these items, both this item and this item, the spray cap. You want to make sure that all of your names for your items are different enough that when you generate a parts list, it will actually be correct. Okay, so this list will auto generate based on the name of the file. So you want to make sure that your file names are correct before you do this. Okay, so to make an exploded view, what we're going to do is first you need to assemble your product. So you should already know how to do this by now. We did this with the train project. You should already know how to put everything together using the joint tool in Fusion. In case you don't, just let me know and we can always go over it again. But everything should be assembled and looking right. So once you get to this point, in order to make an exploded view, what we're going to do is we're going to click Design, and then we're going to go Drawing, or I'm sorry, we're going to go to Animation. All right, and it'll take us into kind of like a storyboard looking thing. What we're going to do from here is we're going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to click on an object, and then I'm going to click on Transform Components, these arrows here. And then I'm going to drag it along whatever axis makes the most sense, okay? And you'll see it looks like I'm going really far away, but you'll see why that's important here in a second. So I'm just going to take each of my components, and I'm going to drag them out until each component is spaced out enough that they are separate, okay? Then we want to move our bottle down and our, not the whole thing, just our straw. Move it to about there and move that to about there. So this is our exploded view. Now this is pretty simple because everything is along the same axis, okay? So then we'll press OK. So everything here is along the same axis, so it's pretty easy. But if you have parts that join in multiple directions, just use the arrows when you go to transform and you click on something. Just use the arrows to drag it in whichever way makes the most sense to you. If you're not sure, just let me know. So once we get everything set in our exploded view here, now we're going to make the actual mechanical drawing for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click up here. We're going to go Drawing, from Animation. It'll pull up a little dialog box, and we will change our sheet size to A, which is standard printer paper. Landscape orientation is probably fine, so we'll hit OK. And that'll take us over to a new sheet where it'll want to drop in that exploded view right here, which should be fine. If it looks too small or too big, don't forget you can adjust the scale here to make it bigger or smaller. So I'll go 1 to 1.5 to kind of adjust that. And then the other thing about exploded views is we want them to be shaded. Okay, we want them to be correct. Normally all of your mechanical drawings were in black and white. Now we are going to select the shaded option because we do in fact want it to be in color. Okay, so I'll click to drop that, and yeah, we want this shaded. We want this in color. We don't want it in black and white because that is just a general rule of thumb for an exploded view. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go to Table, and we're going to go to Parts List, and we're going to drop that wherever makes the most sense. You can do it in the bottom right. You can wherever makes the most sense for your drawing. I'm going to put it down here because it seems like that's the that has the most room. Now, this obviously does not look great, so we're going to clean it up here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our parts list table a lot shorter. So by double clicking on this, we're going to get rid of description and material. And then we'll close that out and see now our parts list is much shorter. And then I'm going to take these bubbles and I'm going to move them to a more convenient location. And if your arrows cross over the part, so we don't want our arrows to go through the part like that. We want them to be right on the outside. Okay, so if you move a bubble like this and your arrow is still pointing on the other side, just grab that dot and make sure it is pointing to the outside of the part. Okay. And that looks pretty good. So we've got all of our parts labeled, our parts list generated. Don't forget to edit your title block to have it actually say the thing that is correct. So we'll say reverse engineering project, and we'll call this bottle assembly exploded view. Our scale is 1 to 1.5. This is the only sheet. It was drawn by me, so that looks good. And that is how you make an exploded view. Super simple. That's it.